Mr. Transformers 96 here with another review. This time we have the Batman Arkham Knight Commissioner Gordon. So, here you go. Going over the package, I really do like this package design a lot. I think that it is a fantastic step up from what we've seen from City, Origins, and Asylum. And overall quite nice. I do like the fact that they do have like a different color scheme for each figure. I think that looks nice. And if you do keep your figures in package, I think they're going to look great together. You do have kind of like almost a blueprints picture of the character, which I think is a really interesting idea, but looks quite nice. He is, of course, from Wave 2. I did pick up all of these except for Nightwing. I decided to skip Nightwing, but I do have Robin, Catwoman, obviously Gordon. Going over the actual figure, so this is a figure that obviously they could have made since the first game, but it's not a character that we usually see get made into a figure because he has no superpowers, of course, even though he is a staple of Batman in general, but we really don't get to see too many figures of him because he is just a person, basically. Really, you know, it is quite nice that they are giving us him in the Arkham collection. He's obviously been in every game, and an interesting character in general, even if he doesn't have superpowers. So I am quite happy that we do have a Commissioner Gordon figure. So let's see how that figure is. Let's go over the actual sculpt here. Talk about the face really fast. You know, I've watched a walkthrough of every single game, and I've played and own Arkham Knight. You know, Commissioner Gordon, I can't really remember his face sculpt that well. He's not an actor or anything. It's a computer-generated image, so it is kind of hard for me to remember what he looks like. I think that this face sculpt is good. Obviously, I'm not quite sure how accurate it is. It certainly looks like kind of an older character, and obviously a game design of one. I think it looks quite good. The glasses are good. They're actually sculpted on. They're not just like painted, or they're not just like relief on the sculpt. They are actually, it seems to be a separate piece that's been glued on, actually. Because you can see there is space in between the actual arm of the glasses and his face. Mustache is looking pretty decent there. He's got quite a nice stash. And then we go down to the rest of the figure. Overall, the sculpt of the shirt is quite good. Tons of really nice and realistic wrinkles. They look incredible, and it is like a white but with almost like a yellowish kind of wash into it, which I think looks great. Obviously gives it that realistic look. One of my favorite details on this figure is the tie. I think the tie looks really nice. It shows some motion. It's obviously not properly done, you know, it's not pulled up, and the back piece of the tie is flowing out of it, as well as it is sculpted so that it's off a little bit from the chest, so it's like it's going over this strap here, which is really nice. It really does look extremely realistic, but it also shows motion, which is really good in a figure that could be seen as quite boring. It is good to have that because it gives it more of a interesting feel to it. It makes you feel like you want to pose him in a pose where he looks like he's kind of moving back a little bit, which is making the tie kind of flow. So a small detail, but really do like it a lot. You do have his police badge there on his belt, and it is sculpted extremely nicely, as well as painted very nice. It's painted in a gold, but you do have a blue background behind the star, and the star is painted silver. The pants are very nice, nothing too special on the pants. They do seem to be brown. I'm not sure if there's any actually like wash into it to give it any more of a detail. It's hard to tell. I think that it's just a solid brown color. I don't think that there's any extra detail, but it is really hard to see. The shoes are sculpted and painted quite nicely. They actually look quite realistic, which is good. Accessory wise, he has a few accessories. He comes with an extra hand, basically an open hand, which is quite nice. It's for the left arm. Let's focus. There we go. As you can see, it's quite nice if you want to, you know, give him in a pose where he's kind of shooting the gun but has his arm out, you know. It's a nice hand. It's nothing too necessary, but it is good that he comes with it. He has his right hand. You're going to have him holding the gun, or at least have the gun holding hand on. And then, of course, he does have the gun. The gun seems almost a bit small. I mean, the handle looks pretty decent, but the actual gun itself is quite tiny, it looks like. I'm not quite sure if that's accurate to the game. It's not something that looks bad. It just, if you do look at it, it does look quite small. And then alternatively, you can have the hand that's meant for holding the radio. The radio looks quite nice. There's really no detail actually sculpted into it. There is actually a few lines sculpted in the back, as you can see. Overall, quite nice. I mean, it looks good. I'm glad that he comes with a radio. That was an accessory that I wouldn't have expected them to give him, but I'm glad that they did. I just think he looks good with that. Articulation wise, I really am happy with the articulation from the Arkham series, from Arkham Knight, and this one still has that good articulation. He's got a ball joint head, which works quite nice. He's got ball hinge shoulders, hinge swivel elbows, hinge swivel wrists, which is quite good, and that's on all 3 of the wrists. He's got a ball jointed torso, which mainly just swivels. He has ball jointed thighs, which work quite nice. He's got thigh swivel, double hinge knees, and hinge pivoting ankles. The pivot is a bit hindered by the pants, but he can still pivot very far amount, even though he does have long pants on. The only real issue I have with the figure is if you don't want him, you know, shooting the gun or in some kind of pose, if you just want him in a museum style pose, drop the radio there. Let me get it. There we go. So if you do want him just with his arms kind of down to his sides, his arms actually do kind of hang away from his body a bit. I wish that the shoulder joint could actually lay more flush to the body so that he wasn't, you know, having his arms bulge out. You can obviously, you know, correct them like this, but he obviously looks extremely strange that way. So would have, you know, that's a problem that we see every now and then with figures, not just with Arkham figures or anything, but just with figures in general. It's a very much of an annoying thing, and it's the reason that I pose him in the pose that you saw at the beginning of this video where he's got the gun out and he's holding the radio. That's actually how I have him displayed on my shelf. Because he doesn't look good just with his arms to his sides. So this figure is quite nice. I mean, he is a staple of Batman and Batman's history, and also the Batman that we do see in Arkham in the games. So he is a really big character. However, with the lack of superpowers or whatnot, he is mainly just a supporter of Batman and not one that's meant to fight. So I can see a lot of people skipping this figure just because of who he is. But I think that it is a really nice representation of the character from the game. It looks good, has good articulation, comes with really all the accessories I could think of. I mean, I'm sure there's a few more police style accessories that you could give him, but he really comes with all the basics and, you know, a little bit more than the basics, which is quite nice. In total, I think it's a really good figure, and this is the Batman Arkham Knight Commissioner Gordon figure. So thanks so much for watching.